So this episode opens with Fabiola. She's sitting down with her parents and her brother through, I guess, Skype or something. He's away at college. And, you know, this is the moment where, you know, she wants to tell them, come out to them, basically. And she found it extremely difficult to do. So what she ended up saying was that she was changing her class from AP French to AP Latin. And, of course, her mom was like, well, you know, she was kind of disappointed because they have this whole trip planned, but you know, it is what it is.
I am switching from AP French to AP Latin this year.
Right, so she just couldn't bring herself to tell them at that moment. So back at school, Ben is talking to the teacher. One of the students who were on their team for Model UN he dropped out. Something happened and they're no longer part of the team. And it was the person who was Equatorial Guinea. And so you can kind of hear him talking to the teacher, trying to figure out what their next move is going to be. So Eleanor and Fabiola's at the locker. Paxton walk up and he ends up telling her that how cool her mom is and how this Eleanor's mom, and how, you know, she was their server at Casa Mexico. His family went there last night or sometime at some point, and she was a great server. She seemed like a cool person.
I think your mom was our server at Casa Mexico last night. She was cool. Gave us extra chips.
What? That's impossible.
And of course, this rubbed Eleanor the wrong way, because in the earlier clip she was talking about how she had just received this postcard from her mom. One of the reasons why she got into acting was because her mom was so passionate about it, and so she was under the impression that her mom had this show that she was doing on this cruise ship, and so she had just received this postcard from her mom basically saying how great things were.
Your mom's cool.
I know. I wish you were here to help me with my audition for the Glass Menagerie this week. She's such a pro.
And so now you have Paxton saying, oh, you know, your mom was our server last night. She just couldn't reconcile that, and she kind of got upset with him. And eventually, you know, he walked off, and she's kind of left there trying to figure out, like, what the hell is going on. So Ben and the rest of the team, they're on the bus, and, you know, they're still waiting for the teacher. And he's like giving them their pep talk, and, you know, giving them that to kind of boost them up. And eventually Davy and the teacher gets on the bus, and he's like, what the hell are you doing here talking to Davy?
And what are you doing here?
Model UN!
Ben, I know you were worried about us not having a full team, but...
And Davy is Equatorial Guinea. She's the replacement. And so it was so funny. Because apparently since they were in elementary school, they have this contract they had between each other about certain organizations that are just for, you know, Ben, and certain organizations that only Davy can join, and so they're not overlapping and competing all the time. And so she was like, that was in, I think she said 6th grade or something. But in the end, Davy's a part of the team at this point, but Ben is not happy about it. So they get to UN, Model UN, gets to the hotel where this is being held, and the topic is climate change. And so Ben is the US, and Davy is Equatorial Guinea. And so Ben got up and said what he needed to say. And of course, Davy, Equatorial Guinea, has to be contrary, and she basically poo-pooed his resolution to climate change.
Equatorial Guinea feels that the United States' resolution is a poorly considered half measure at best.
And so he was obviously frustrated and upset. And then eventually Russia stood up and said that I want to hear more about what Equatorial Guinea has to say. So that really rubbed Ben the wrong way.
Russia.
I'd actually like to hear more of Equatorial Guinea's plan.
So she get back to her hotel, and she's sharing a room with three other girls, young women. And they're all excited to see her, and because it's known that she slept with Paxton. Now, what happened in the early episode when everybody was getting off the bus, she had this back and forth with Ben, and Ben said, you think that you're hot shit because you're sleeping with Paxton Yoshida. And what they didn't know was that there was one of the young girls who was on the bus. They couldn't see her. And so now when she gets to the room, the girl ended up saying, you know, I was on the bus, you know, I heard the conversation. And now she is the it girl because to everybody, Paxton is just all of that in a bag of chips.
The idea that a girl in Model UN can get with a guy like Paxton Hall Yoshida, you're an inspiration to us.
So Fabiola and Eleanor were sitting around at Fabiola's house, and you know, Eleanor's still kind of going over this idea that her mother is a server and not an actress like, you know, she's been portraying herself to be. And Fabiola's like, do you want to go down to Casa Mexico? And so they made their way down. And it was confirmed that her mother was there, and even her mother was shocked to see her.
Eleanor, you're here? And this is your job? What's happening?
And Eleanor was like, what the hell is going on? And so eventually she stormed out. It was just too much for her. And I'm trying to think to myself, like, how did you think that you would be employed here and not run into anybody that knew your daughter, and it wouldn't get back to your daughter? So the fact that she was shocked to see Eleanor, it's like, you're working at an establishment in the same town your daughter lives and goes to school. Anywho, so that was an uncomfortable scene to watch. So Russia slid a note under the door, and the guy, the young guy, I can't remember his name, and he wanted to meet Davy in the ice room. So when she got there, Ben was already there, and he was like, I want to put a motion on the table to get turned up. This is Russia. He wanted to have a party. And so they're like, well, where are we supposed to get alcohol? So there was some convention or something going on in the hotel, and the plan was to sneak in there and grab a couple of bottles of wine or whatever they had, and bring it back up to the room. So they get downstairs, and of course, look, the guy that's Russia, he get caught with the 2 bottles in his hand, and then he points to Davy and Ben, and saying that they made him do it, that they bullied him. And so you hear Davy say, no wonder nobody at your school likes you, and they run off, right?
They made me do it. They bullied me.
This is why your whole school hates you!
And so it's just their luck that they run off and they hide in this closet. So when they turn the light on, that's the closet where they kept all the alcohol. So they went, so they had an abundance of alcohol to choose from, right? So now they're like, okay, that obviously worked out for them. So they're back at Fabiola and Eleanor back at her house, and she's still trying to work through this whole thing with her mom. And finally, Fabiola she felt comfortable enough to say it out loud, and she told Eleanor that she was gay.
That I'm gay.
What?
And you can kind of see on her face that she was kind of nervous about Eleanor's reaction. But Eleanor, she, apologized for not, telling her early on. And Eleanor was like, don't you dare apologize. And she was so excited and she hugged her. And it was a great moment.
Don't you dare apologize to me.
Really?
So back at the hotel, they're all getting turned up in, I guess that had to be Ben's room. And they're talking, and Ben is talking to Davy. He's like, it seemed like, for 2 people who hate each other, we work pretty good together. And so she made a comment like, we don't, I don't hate you. It's just that I find you annoying or something to that effect.
Turns out we're a pretty good team for 2 people who hate each other.
I don't hate you. I just think you're pretentious and unlikable.
And so they talked for a while, and it seemed like, they, again, it was a stalemate, like they're cool now. And so eventually the teacher walked in, and he was like, this is exactly what I told you guys not to do. And he told everybody to go to their room. And so eventually, obviously everybody left, and Davy had to go back to her room. And so she was texting someone or saying something to that effect. And so she put her phone down and turned in for the night. And then the next thing you see, excuse me, is her receiving a text from Paxton saying, WTF, why all these people think that we slept together?
Davey, WTF. Why are you lying to everyone about us having sex?
So of course she didn't get to see that text until the following morning. And now she is freaking out because, of course, she screwed up yet again. So, so she's trying to call him. It's going straight to voicemail. And so she's not been able to get in contact with him. So, of course, Davy, Davy is, most of the time she's a likable character, but Davy really is a bitch. A self-involved bitch at times. It's like, wow, I cannot believe the leaps, the bounds that she goes to and the choices that she makes. It's crazy. So she has decided that Ben is the reason why her life has just blown up, and how Paxton found out about this because he mentions it on the bus. And but at the same time, they didn't know that anybody else was on the bus. So now she's blaming Ben for this secret getting out, which should have never happened, because if she corrected her friends in the beginning, this would never be a thing. But it's Ben's fault. So where they had came to a resolution where they would work together on the council. So Ben got up and said his part, and he even referred to Equatorial Guinea as his ally. And she stood up and basically saying that she was going to nuke the U.S. and how their plan on climate control is a bunch of BS. And of course, you can see Ben sitting there like, what in the hell just happened? He has no idea what's going on.
Equatorial Guinea does not support the American resolution. In fact, we think that the resolution is a piece of shit.
And the chair, the person leading the panel, the council, was saying, well, Equatorial Guinea doesn't have nukes. And so she asked Russia for nukes, which is the guy that talked him into getting alcohol. And he said he was going to give them the nukes. And how she's now talking about she's going to blow everybody up. And it turned into a whole mess. And Ben is just sitting there confused, like trying to figure out what in the hell just happened.
The U.S. has shown they can't be trusted with sensitive information, and if left to their own devices.
And of course, again, not taking responsibility for her mess. So, all while this is going on, Eleanor and Fabiola have been trying to call her, but she's been sending the calls to voicemail. So she arrived at school. She saw Paxton. He was put some stuff in his locker, and she walked over to him, and she apologized, and he told her, like, well, why would you allow people to believe that we slept together? And she basically explained that how her friends, just assumed they had, and she never corrected them. And he was like, well, why didn't you correct them? Because you wanted them to think that we were sleeping together. And then she pulled the stuff that she did, the very thing that women hate. When guys do the same mess, well, why are you being so dramatic? It was just a rumor. Like it was just no big deal.
You're being dramatic. It's just a silly rumor.
That you started. It's messed up, Davey.
And so he basically said that he thought, she was cool, and how she was just using him, and he eventually just walked away. So as he was walking away, Eleanor and Fabiola kind of caught up with her and was trying to tell her, like, all the stuff that's been going on since she was away. And her, being the self-involved bitch that she is, was like, whatever you guys got going on, my shit is bigger. And like how she couldn't be bothered and she can't deal with their stuff right now.
Now's not a good time, but it's really important. Trust me, whatever you guys have going on, my shit's bigger, okay?
Now these are all supposed to be her friends who've been with her through thick and thin, and she just basically told them whatever they got going on is not as big as whatever she has going on, even though she don't know what they have going on. And she walked away, and of course they're standing there looking confused, like, what in the hell is going on with her? So the final scene, she's at home, and her mom walks in and basically tell her that, she basically ran out of chores for her to do. It seemed like she's learned her lesson, because she was on punishment from going to that party where she was drinking alcohol, where she got bit by the coyote. So she's basically now off punishment, and if she wanted to go and see her friends, that she could do that. And her mom basically walked out, and that was that. And so that's pretty much how this episode ends. So yeah, Davey is a hot ass mess.